This is R2G Rally Radio. For the latest in on-event rally news.
Afternoon. This update is posted as at 2:30 this afternoon in the middle of leg 4 of the Silver Fern Rally, where we've just completed special stage number 30, the Hakataramia Pass Road, 22k, and James Ford has bounced back from an incident we'll talk about in more detail shortly in the Ford at Askins Road in stage 28, where he's damaged the diff on his Ford Escort and has lost the lead in the rally. But the current standings at the moment, just to give you a heads up there, is that after stage 30, Marcus van Klink in the Mazda RX-7 has taken over the lead. The time lost by James Ford, the 5.5 minutes, was dropped him out of the lead, but still keeps him in second place. And certainly he's bounced back since the team changed the back end, the differential in the Viking Escort, and they are holding second place, 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes 31.3 behind Klinky as it stands at the moment as they head on to do the final 3 stages of this leg. Problems for Robbie Stokes in that latest stage 30. He's lost over 5 minutes in there, presumably a puncture or thereabouts, stopped at 7.6k into the stage, and so that has cost him third place. He's now dropped behind Jeff Judd in the Magnum Ford Escort, who is now currently sitting in third place at 4 minutes 45.9 behind James Ford. It's now 2 minutes 1.6 back to Robbie Stokes, and then it's a status quo for the next few places with Robert Goff in his Escort in 5th place at 48.9 behind Robbie Stokes. And then Roger Chilman, also Escort, 21.1 further back. And then Chris Rosenberger in the 911 Porsche, he's just 3.2 seconds down on Roger Chilman. Shane Merland is 8th in his Escort at 1 minute 11.7 behind. And the top 10 has been completed by a change in positions there. Charlie Evans in the Mazda RX-7 has just got ahead of Philip Kaduri in the Lancia Stratos, and the Evans is 2 minutes 25 behind Shane Merland, but now 7.8 seconds ahead of Philip Kaduri. Running through the rest of the classified finishes, or so far, classified runners, should I say. 11th place is Bonamy Grimes in his Ford Escort, 50 seconds down on Kaduri. Alan Dippy in the Porsche continues to lead the third Porsche in the rally, 12th and 13th there. 3 minutes 20 the gap from Dippy to up to Grimes, and at 2 minutes 52, so very similar sort of margin back to Evgeny Karev in the third Porsche in the rally. Daniel Alonso continues to be 14th at 1 minute 42 further back. Grant Shand is 26th, then comes Andrew Siddle at 16th place. Shand just getting ahead of Siddle now by 4.6 seconds. Then it's 7 minutes 9 back to Scott O'Donnell, who's just headed off Brandon James in his Mark II Escort by 3.9 seconds. Richard Spink is 28 seconds further back in his Escort RS 1800. And then comes Ian Dobson in the Mark I Escort. He, in turn, has just got ahead of Ken McDonald in his Escort after this stage number 30. Greenie is still 22nd. And then we go back to David Young, who's had a couple of delays today, but still leads Class B in his Escort Mexico. Then 24th is Julian Burley in the Sunbeam. 25th, Steve Cox, again, continues to lead Class A in the Little Starlet. Second in Class B, we then go to Tony Jardine. Chris Ford in his Escort. Now, he's stopped in stage 20, stage 29, no, sorry, it was stage 30. Chris Ford stopped at 11.6k, so there'll be a stage maximum probably coming for him, and that's been posted now. You'll see those in red in the Chris Sport results. So he's now 27th. Keith Stewart also stopped just in from the start line, so whether there was a transmission or a diff drivetrain failure, he is also posted a stage maximum now in that stage number 30, and so he is dropped to third in Class B, listed as 28th at the moment. Ali Mackay also had an incident that delayed him, but certainly far less than Robbie Stokes, cost him about 6 places in the stage results. He's 29th. Then comes Nathan Quinn, who's doing a great job with that rebuilt back end on the car. I'm sure he's very grateful to the panel beater and Geraldine that probably felt well into the evening to get that car sorted. He has been able to post competitive times since returning this afternoon: 7th, 3rd, 5th, and 3rd on the stages so far. Then also, I can say, Andy Martin also another rejoin. The Paddon team had to change the diff out at Fairley before getting him into Timaru last night to his pub, the Bunker, in the middle of Timaru. So Andy's back out there today, and again he is proving as competitive as ever. Merv Hatcher, unfortunately we've lost him in the stage 29, at the end of stage 29, with what we believe is a diff issue. Ben Howell at 38 is listed as a class, listed 33rd at the moment. Then we go back to Dean Buist, who has made it back into the rally today. He's sitting 34th at the moment, and of course with all the penalty times, he is some 2 hours behind the rally leader at the moment. But again, he's been back on the pace, 5th in the first stage, then a 3rd, a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 4th. And obviously has the escort wound up nicely again now. 35th, Bruce Farley, and these are all guys who've rejoined in one point or another. 33, Joshua Hilton next, and our final classified runner at the moment, car 35, William Midgley, who's not competing today, but we have been pleased to see that through his rally safe unit, he has come down from Christchurch, and all being well will rejoin the competition tomorrow. Permanent retirements, of course, we'll go back to yesterday with Marion Evans off the road in stage 21 just after lunch yesterday. Mechanical problem, of course, back on day one for car 17, Darren Snooks, and our other retirement car 32, Peter Sharmack, who went off the road in stage 16 over on the west coast on Sunday. So as it stands at the moment in the challenge, things are looking good there. Major move by Dave Strong. He's now up into second place overall, still 6.5 minutes down on Chris Ramsey, but he's managed to do the head off Richard Galley and Phil Thomas, and also Carl Celeste, who had an issue in stage 20, the latest stage, 31, I believe. Hang on, I'll just check that for you. Or was it 29? No, stage 29, the first one after the Albury School brunch break today. Unfortunately, Carl, again, maybe a puncture there for him too. He lost over 4 minutes in that stage 29 and was stopped at 4.2k for a period of time. So we're just going back to stage 30 and the results now. That has actually cost him sufficient time to drop down to 5th in the classification now. So the current standings in the challenge, Chris Ramsey and Amy Hudson in the Toyota Corolla continue to lead, but now Dave Strong is the man behind them, with Rob Scott alongside in the Honda Jazz RS. The gap, as I mentioned, 6 minutes 35.3. Then it's 57 seconds back to Richard Galley in the BMW from Australia. The Tide driver Phil Thomas in his Escort Mark II was another 6.4 behind Galley, and then it's a minute 56 back to Carl Celeste. Austin Jones driving Ronald, and the name dedicated to his father, who he lost earlier this year. He and Kingsley sharing the drive in the front-wheel drive Subaru are in 6th place, 11 seconds down on Carl Celeste, and 9 minutes 31 now ahead of, I guess you'd say, their teammates, considering Waverley is co-driving for Daniel Alexander in the Starlet. A bit of a scare for them this morning on a fairly fast left-hander that caught them out briefly, but they've got away with it, and they're continuing on, and as is Chris Paddon, with Robin Matheson alongside the old team back together again after some 20 years since they last competed in the same car, the Toyota Levin, that Chris apparently handed the keys over to young Hayden Paddon to start to learn his craft, and we all know how that's worked out. Chris is apparently revelling in enjoying driving a car with the registration number Paddon. And guess what? It's green, and he is 7 minutes 40 behind Daniel Alexander. Michael Ward, car 52, in his Toyota Levin is another 12 minutes further back. Then comes Ed Mulligan in the BMW, another 3 minutes 17 behind. And then Andrew Lowe doing all the road sweeping, first car on the road in his Toyota Corolla. He's had a crook co-driver during the course of this the rally so far. He is 23 minutes, nearly 24 down on Ed Mulligan. And then we go back to Brian Benek, one of our rejoins in the Toyota Altezza, who has still been setting some competitive times, but unfortunately lost a lot earlier on in the event. And he is the last classified runner at the moment. Of course, we lost Ross Yendel, car 46, at the service on the weekend with a transmission problem. And of course, now the Silver Frond has finished. We are now, the other category that we're still running is the 4-wheel drive classic rally with the 2 Subaru H6s running. We've got them running up in the merit order rather than at the behind the leading classic and historic cars. So Ben Huband is making the most of that road position, and he's as an example, he's just taken 1.5 minutes out of Tom Milliken in his similar Subaru Impreza. Huband, of course, driving a Magnum Motorsport supplied car, so he is now enjoying a 20-minute lead over Tom Milliken in the the four-wheel drive classic section. So as I said, 3 more stages to go. They're in the middle of 31 as I speak, so we'll have some more progress for you to wrap up the day, hopefully at our usual time if things can settle down a bit more than they have done. But certainly if you do have the chance, Rocky Hudson and Darren Galbraith and Tony McConaughey have been doing a great job picking just the right spots to go and watch. Rocky has been doing some live streaming, very well I might add, and if you get a chance to look on Rocky Hudson's Facebook page, you can see some of the incidents that happened yesterday with Nathan Quinn and others having their incident in stage 21, and also they were at the Ford in Askins Road, so if you spin right through about 40 minutes worth of footage to the last 6 or 7 minutes, you'll see what happens to car one, Mr. Ford, as he approached James Ford and Neil Shanks as they approach with a rather wounded-looking Ford Escort. It appears they've had some sort of incident earlier in the stage. They're running behind Clinky on the road today, and when you time when Clinky entered the Ford to when James Ford entered the Ford, excuse all the Fords, he lost over a minute at that point, and there's quite a straight coming down to the Ford, and you can see that the car is crabbing. And he is unable to he gets into the Ford, gets through it, but there's a very steep, rough exit, and just having one right rear wheel drive, he's unable to get up the steep slope. So the Barry Varco in one of the official vehicles, safety vehicles, is there with a tow rope ready, pulls him out of the up the hill. But again, the car just can't move because everything's the left rear wheel. The tyre has gone completely. In fact, some of it's wrapped round the brake rotor and disc. And ultimately, they're just run on the rim. That's all that's left by the time they've got to the Ford. And from there, Tony Mack and T-Mac and Dazza and the like all get in and help change the wheel. But again, that wheel is very heavily out of alignment due to the damage to the rear diff, and on that basis they struggle to get away, continuing up the hill to get towards the end of the stage. They do make it, but again, it's very, very, very good footage to watch if you do get the chance. So as I say, that's all on Rocky Hudson's Facebook page if you have the time to have a look. But hopefully they'll find some more good spots during the course of the rest of the event. So until later on this evening, to wrap things up for you, hopefully we'll be able to meet our 7 o'clock deadline for this one. This is Chris Grant at the Chris Sport Results Desk, looking after you on the Silver Fern Rally 2024.
Midday, day 4, Silver Fern Rally 2024, and it's hump day, still a long way to go. First car on the road, car 49, Andrew Lowe. You're playing the position that Hayden Padden is most familiar with, that thick gravel on the road. More an issue today, I understand.
Yeah, it is proving to be a bit of a handful. I need a bigger broom out the front.
And the Ford too, which is very well known in some circles. As far as getting a front-wheel drive Corolla through there, what was the plan and how did it work out?
The plan was to take it as it came. Just had to visualise it as we got into the Ford and enter very carefully and plough on out. It was a very, very lumpy and rocky coming out of it.
I guess, as always, there's still a very long way to go. Nothing to gain but a whole lot to lose. Is that your approach to the event?
That is correct.
All right, thank you very much, and good luck for the next part of the day and for the remaining days. We will look forward to your next edition of what it's like to be at the front of the rally later.
Oh, no, we don't want a microphone.
Derek Asen, we'll get there. Derek Asen, you're very well known for the Silver Fern Rally. Your role this week is you're not in your usual attire.
No, I'm scared of the pace. I'm like, I might give up. No, I'm just the water boy.
The excuse list gets longer.
No, we're actually crowing Fed Mulligan, so Ed's been good to us over the years, driving his cars in Aussie, so we helped him 2 years ago and giving him a hand this year as well. So yeah, no, it's good. And look, to be honest, it's the camaraderie I like. I mean, it's just so cool to catch up with everybody.
And obviously that includes down here Marion Evans. Marion, equally, you're not in the same attire we saw you in. What happened yesterday?
Probably misjudged quite a bit of my pace notes or the route notes that we were given. I thought I had another 100 after the crest, but there was in my notes there was an 8 left straight after the crest. So I went over the crest and off the road down the paddock in it's still in top gear. Because I thought I had 100, and 100 is normally my magic number for having enough, time to slow a car from any speed. But yeah, no, it was just a pace note error. Not from my co-driver. My co-driver shouted 3 times. It was just I thought I was in a different place. I thought I had 100 after the crest, but obviously, as I just explained, there wasn't 100 there. But yeah, so that's the way it goes. I've got a bad cold, which doesn't help with the concentration and everything. So our main goal now for the rest of the week is just keeping our customers and Roger and Brandon and the boys going for the rest of the week, and try and get them to the end. And see whether we'll come back in a couple of years' time or not. I don't know. We'll see. It's not the same for me as what it was when I first came here, because we've done this 4 times now, and it's not the same when we came here in 16 when it was a blind rally. For me, I think it's better blind because the speed is a little bit less. So you're driving more on what you can see rather than it's New Zealand is notorious for being cresty, and it's difficult to make pace notes, so I don't know, just follow them. So I think a blind rally for me would be a better way of doing this kind of event. But then again, to get the Europeans and these guys down here, I understand why they have to go on pace notes, because they won't drive any other way. So yeah, it's probably not the same for me anymore, but it is what it is. It's too far. To do your own pace notes, which I'd love. I'd really, really like the challenge of doing this rally on my own pace notes. That would be absolutely amazing. But it's down to whether you want to do the homework before coming and all that. But you've got to find a lot of time to do that, and sometimes you just haven't got that time available to you. So yeah, I'd rather if it was a blind one, like back in 16 when myself and Derek had a bit of a battle here and there, and we enjoyed that more probably, even though we were struggling a bit with Derek then, because he knew where he was going, because he knew all the roads, because he lives on them. But we had a good race, and I enjoyed that. So to beat the 2, like the 16 Fern, would be very difficult in my view, due to all them aspects, really, to be honest.
It was noted it was a 7G impact yesterday. Sounds a big number. How's the car?
It's fine. As I said, we went off the road, and the boys came out to get the car then afterwards to get it out, and they obviously took it out of the gear to get the car from there, and it was still in top gear. So it is, it's way over probably 100 k's, going down the paddock, and there's a small little tree down in the paddock, and we had to obviously see that, catch that tree, but it's. SMG, I don't really understand much about Gs or any of that kind of stuff, but it didn't feel any impact at all. We could have come back out today. That wouldn't have been an issue, because it was just on the front wheel on the corner, which we could have repaired, no problem. But to be honest, on the pace notes and the way I like to attack rallying, I'd probably do it again, purely because of that reason. So that's why I didn't really have much interest in telling the boys to put it right, because I didn't really want to continue, because I knew probably I'd do a mistake again, because I wasn't comfortable. But yeah, we'll come back to New Zealand again, maybe for Otago or something you can make your own pace notes, your own language, as I call it. Not saying anybody else's pace notes are German or Finnish or whatever other language you want to call it, but when you do your own pace notes, they're your language, and it's important for me to be able to do that. So yeah, we'll come back for Otago or something something a bit, something different.
Fishing in Fiordland.
yeah, maybe. But yeah, we'll go back. We'll put things right, and then we'll head to Ireland again next year. To what we normally do, and crack on.
Excellent, thank you, Marion. Great to see you back, and great to hear you got plans for the future to return.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's obviously my work, it's my business. No doubt I'll have customers that want to come again in a couple of years' time, so I'll probably definitely be here. But saying that, there's this event, I would really, really like to do it without the competitive hat on my head, and just bring my daughter to co-drive for me, and then just have some bonding time with her. I'd really like to do it with her, just to have a bit of bonding time. And she loves rallying, she loves co-driving. Just started doing it. She's done 3 or 4 events back home. I may do that one day, and as I said, leave my competitive hat, throw that in the bin for an event. So I may do that, or I may come back, and try and be competitive, but do it differently, do my pace notes some other kind of way somehow. Otherwise, I would have no interest.
It sounds magical. We look forward to that. Thank you.
No worries, anytime.